Good morning. Today we're going to be talking about hepatitis. One life, one liver. Very interesting program to really celebrate the World Hepatitis Day. Good morning, Dr. Zabosade and Dr. Toyin. Dr. Toyin, we're here talking about hepatitis. One life, one liver. Why is that so important? Why are we talking about one liver now?
Thank you very much, Dr. Pamela. It's always nice to be on your show. Hepatitis, as a form of introduction, is inflammation of the liver. And the liver happens to be the largest, most sacrificial organ in the body. To the layman, I tell them that the liver is like the barracks of the country or a community. As such, whatever happens in any section of the community affects the barrack. So the liver is like the largest organ that does a lot of work. It helps to detoxify the blood of anything that can be harmful. It breaks down foods that we eat into the components that we need to save for further use. You either save for energy, or you to produce proteins that serves as soldiers that fight infections. So the liver is very, very paramount. And anything that makes the liver upset, inflamed, that condition is called hepatitis. And this can range from a lot of things: alcohol, medications, drugs, organisms, especially like viruses. And we have the common one being the hepatitis viruses. We have the A, B, C, D. And the common ones that cause chronic infections are the B and the C. What it means is that they persistently irritate the liver. So the liver is in a state of persistent inflammation, which if it continues will cause a damage to the liver or can cause liver cancer in the worst scenario. So any condition that causes hepatitis is of importance and should be looked into in order to avoid that inflammation. Now, July 28th, we celebrate the hepatitis, basically the viral ones. And of utmost is this B and the C, because they kind of are related with most problems associated with hepatitis. And preventing or curing has been shown to help and to provide, to reduce the mortality associated with it. And a lot of this is because of information. Hepatitis B is highly preventable. It's a preventable virus. So why do you want to even have it when you can prevent it? And we'll prevent it by knowing how it is being transmitted and giving vaccinations to protect against it. Hepatitis C, on the other hand, is not preventable, but now, courtesy of recent advancements in medicine, it's curable. And if you know that, that is a plus. So we're kind of advocating that people should know about. So if you know that C is curable, why are you hiding? Why are you stigmatizing yourself? Come out and get treated, because C is curable. B is preventable. Thank you. I hope I've given a little summary of what hepatitis is.
That's actually that's excellent. And I think that also can sit up and say, you know what, this World Hepatitis Day, I don't know if I've got it, but maybe if I haven't ever checked before, maybe I should find out, do I have hepatitis B? Do I have hepatitis C? Do I need treatment? And perhaps we can then talk about these things in more detail. So, for example, who needs vaccination? Who is at risk of getting these conditions? How common is this in our environment? Should the average person be worried and be thinking about getting a vaccination or not?
Thank you very much. By means of this classification, Nigerians, Africans, we are classified as endemic. Any country that has more than 8% of their population with there's a prevalence of more than 8% of hepatitis B is got to be endemic. So hepatitis B is actually endemic in Nigeria. As such, all Nigerians must be vaccinated. And especially people that are born to parents that are hepatitis B positive. I know we have a gynecologist there, and so I'm going to also be biased towards the gynecology aspect. Basically, everybody in Nigeria should be vaccinated against hepatitis because Nigeria happens to be an endemic community because the average prevalence is about 13 to 14.6. It changes every year as studies are accumulating. Also, if you're at risk, you're a health professional, or you have anybody in your family that has hepatitis, you should be vaccinated. Or you're married to someone who's hepatitis B positive, definitely you should be vaccinated. But generally, every Nigerian, let me limit to Nigeria, every Nigerian should be vaccinated against hepatitis B because it is an endemic condition in our country.
Are those vaccines available?
Yes. Actually, in Nigeria, before 2004, it was not readily available. So it was not, but from 2004, it became part of the expanded immunization program. So all children born to Nigerians ideally should be vaccinated. Although we know that's not the case when you go to this health center. Sometimes you get there, tell you, oh, this vaccine is not available, please come back or not. And if you don't have information about the importance, you might overlook it. They told me my daughter is supposed to get 3, I got 2. You don't know that the last one is hepatitis B. So that is the limitation. However, from 2004, it has become part of the expanded program on immunization. So it's readily available. However, also in some other places too, the problem of cold chain, storing and preserving these vaccines, especially in some facilities where they might not be optimized enough to be able to store them, but maybe you're looking for, especially like this fuel crisis, there's no electricity, people are trying to maximize profit. So there are all these limitations that you might not be able to, we cannot account for them. They are like factors that are beyond your control as a person getting this vaccine. So these are the issues that might occur, but bearing up all limitations, it should be available to everyone.
No, I think that's important. And I think what you've said is absolutely critical. People need to know. And especially those with children or grandchildren, you need to be asking the questions. Are you getting all the vaccines you're supposed to get? Are the children getting what it is they're supposed to receive? And checking and making sure the things that are critical things like this hepatitis B vaccine, that they do receive it. And they find out if it's not available in the health center today, when will it be available? Keep on checking until they get everything they're supposed to receive so that there are no gaps. It really pays to have all the vaccines you can have to prevent as many, of these deadly conditions as possible. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Abosede, for coming on the program. It's very important that you're here. You're a gynecologist, and yet you're offering special hepatitis screening in your hospital. Can you tell us why?
Thank you so much, Dr. Kamala. It's a pleasure to be on here today to talk about hepatitis. And just to piggyback on what Dr. Toyin had been talking about today, I will say that for us, it's more of us addressing what we've always felt has been a gap in women's health, where it seems it's only pregnancy that brings women into the hospital, whether they're trying to achieve it, get care for it, deliver, or have some complications. And we find that most of these infectious diseases that are transmissible from mother to child that affects their quality of lives, they're usually incidental findings. So one of our creed has always been, every woman we get in touch with has to know her status. And just like she rightly said, the expansion project was one that included hepatitis B in our screening. So prior to 2004, if you were born before 2004, you're likely not to have been immunized for hepatitis B. And then women now come for different cases at our center, and then we find out that, in the presence of doing baseline investigations, they have hepatitis. Some of them don't even know whether it's acute, whether it's chronic. That's the viral one that she's spoken about. So when we came into this month and we're thinking, how do we uplift attention? How do we kind of make this let's normalize knowing our status? And we decided that we're going to offer free viral hepatitis screening, that's hepatitis B and C, on that very date, that's 28th of July. And then
That's
on 29th,
Friday.
Friday and
Saturday.
tonight as well, because we know some people.
Can
Friday
I
and
ask,
Saturday. And yes.
can I ask, so who can come? Is it people who live in your area? Where is your, how can people know? Is it just anybody? Can we all just rush in and come and do it?
Actually, so what we have a flyer out that requires that you pre-register so that we sort of know the number of people we're preparing for. Now, we're not excluding anyone. We will expect both male and female because, again, it's also a sexually transmitted disease in as much as there are other routes of transmission. So anyone that can come, because one of the questions we ask is, have you been screened before? Do you know your status? Have you been vaccinated? Just like she rightly said, we have vaccines available for hepatitis B. While the common one that was introduced into the schedule is for children, we have the adult dose available as well. So if you come in and you screen and you're interested in being vaccinated, we offer those services. If you come in and you're positive, we have gastroenterologists who can treat you. And like she said, when I was in medical school, hepatitis C was not curable. Now it's curable. People don't know that a lot of people are stuck in the time when it's like something that can be taken care of. So we want you to screen, we want you to vaccinate, we want you to know you can access treatment, and we want to have like a lot, like more voices speaking about hepatitis B as something that should be known by every single Nigerian. And just to chime in that when people think they are not concerned, people that are at risk that I tell people is that beyond the medical people, your pedicurist, your manicurist, where you go for your spa, your hairdresser, the tattoo, because we have more people with tattoos and all that, people that touch your domestic staff, these are people that are likely to also be high risk, and they travel around different households, and hepatitis B is virulent, so it can survive outside the body, so we're all at risk. So if you think, well, I'm very careful, but you do get exposed to all those people in your day-to-day life. And so that's why we're taking it on as one of our to-do.
Thank you. Well. That's wonderful. Thank you very much for doing that. So, but for people who are listening and they want to come in, they're saying, oh, I haven't registered, maybe I shouldn't bother. Or is there a phone number that they can call in to get the flyer so that you can tell us the phone number? And also, where is your clinic?
Okay, fantastic. So the phone number is 080-999-26611. So I'll take that again. 080-999-26611. So they can send a message, WhatsApp or text to register. And we're also located at number 23A, Silver Crescent in Anthony Village, Lagos. So 23A, Silver Crescent, Anthony Village, Lagos. So once you register, you walk in on Friday or Saturday, we will have scheduled you for the time for you to come in, and then you get your free viral hepatitis screening.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And thank you very much for doing this. We need as much help as we can in Lagos and in Nigeria. So we always appreciate people who offer qualitative and free services. Dr. Toyin.
Yes, please.
Having
Thank
heard
you.
what Dr. Bosade is talking about, I think she took it up from you. There are a number of people who have hepatitis B and yet are stigmatized. And in fact, sometimes they know about it, they hide it. I mean, what should they do? Because a lot of people, if they find out house help is hepatitis B positive, they're out of the door. In fact, even if they're not in the house, as close as that, even if it's a driver, even if somebody's further away. I mean, what do you think should be done? How do you think these things should be handled?
Thank you very much, ma'am. Actually, at the root of all this stigmatization is the lack of information, lack of education about what hepatitis is and how it is transmitted. And that is why the advocacy for health education is important. It is important for people to know that a lot of people are positive, and that's for the general populace now, that you shouldn't, it is not, yes, it is we'll talk about it being a very, very strong virus that stays for a long time, but a lot of Nigerians are already they have some level of immunity against it. So it's not something that you get like that, especially as an adult. The most vulnerable people are the younger ones. So as much as, and if you protect them by getting them vaccinated, you are going to avoid hepatitis. And peradventure, you are the patient that has hepatitis B. Let me tell you, you are not alone. You are not alone. An average, I've said average about 14%, 13% of Nigerians are positive right now with chronic hepatitis B. And up to 40%, that is, if 10 people are here, about 4 of them have been exposed at one time or the other. Some have overcome, some have like shared it out. So you're not alone, because most of the time we think, oh, I'm alone. Nobody knows. You're not alone. And for the spouses, your wife or your husband did not necessarily cheat on you to have hepatitis B. It's not because of promiscuity. Most people that have hepatitis B in our environment is as children. Is from child to child transmission or mother to child transmission. So it's not because she or she is cheating on you. We have a lot of virgins that are positive. All these things, like I said, these are things that are passionate over the years. I've seen couples separate, distrust because of hepatitis B. Companies telling me you want an HR and you're sending to me that your HR, you don't want to employ an HR director because of hepatitis B. Do you know doctors can be hepatitis B positive and allowed to work? Doctors, they just need to prove that they are controlling it, is under control. So talk less of HR clerks, people that do not have anything to do with blood. So we need to give that information out. And as top 30 people involved in this thing, what I want us to do is keep educating people, keep accelerating this information so that we can make it more acceptable to everybody and get them the necessary help rather than taking their jobs from them. Hepatitis B is actually even expensive. They need to do viral loads, they need to do tests, and you want to take their jobs, For house helps, I would say that we should, yes, it's good to screen your house help. If you have a child, yes, maybe you don't want, because the infertility, you might screen your house help. I'm not going to necessarily take a positive house help and you say you have vulnerable children. But there are many other things that these people can do for your drivers, screen and let them get help. A lot of people, if they are controlled, I've said even doctors that are controlled can be allowed to touch patients. They just need to prove that the virus is under control, by checking. So let's stop discriminating. Let's stop taking jobs from people. I think, and let's encourage them so that they can also back to the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So the question, though, that people will ask is, how can they get treated? Because if, for example, they're a driver, how expensive is this medication? Because a number of people will say, you know what, I don't want to bear that cost. Is this something that you can get from teaching hospitals and other places? How easy is it to find medication to treat people with hepatitis?
The medications are readily available, especially the hepatitis B, albeit they might be expensive. And these days, to say something is expensive is very relative, What we think might be cheap before is not expensive, it's not even cheap again, because by the time you finish spending all your money on fuel or surviving, it's after eating that the average Nigerian wants to talk about food. So about drugs, it's after they've sorted their bellies and all that. So we have drugs that vary from 20,000, 15,000 a month. We have ones that are the hepatitis C can be much more expensive. However, I think part of what we should advocate for is these aids that the government and most of these NGOs have advocated for about HIV, where you have these drugs readily available. HIV is now like hypertension. People are getting medications and all that. If we can get such assistance, I think hepatitis B will definitely be, curbed to an extent. Same with hepatitis C, because the average Nigerian is still not enough in their self to do this thing.
Now, unbelievably, it feels like just 2 minutes since we've been talking, but the program is over. So can I just start with Dr. Abosede? Do you have any last words for our listeners before I come back to Dr. Tony?
Yes, so I'll say that knowing your status is the first step to eradicating hepatitis B, because when you know your status, you can optimize yourself, you can curb the spread of the disease, and for women and even men, you can prevent transmission into the next generation. So it's really, when you know your status, you've taken the first step to eliminating hepatitis B. And then there is no future dates to know your status. The time to know your status is also now. And finally, come to All Women's Clinic on the 28th of July and 29th and get screened for free. We've already discussed the number and the address.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry, Dr. Toyin.
Thank you very much. Hepatitis B is very much among us. It is preventable, it is manageable, it's never a death sentence. It should not stop people from earning their living. It should not stop people from being married or having happy marriages. Let us embrace people. Let us embrace information and encourage people that are positive. Encourage people to test. Encourage people that are positive to see doctors and get treated. For adventure, they might not even need treatment because most people with hepatitis B will be okay without treatment. They just need to be monitored. Let's give this information. Let's share it. Instagram, Facebook, let somebody know that there is hope for them. I'll be available on Dr. Toyin Ashaolu on Instagram, Toyin Ashaolu on Facebook. I am interested and passionate about talking about hepatitis B. And you can get information from one time to the other about what you want to know about hepatitis B. And hopefully we have a community and a country where everyone is healthy and they can be happy to be who they were meant to be. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe for new video updates.